Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Let's start our part 4 from the chapter Meat, Fish and Poultry. Meat preparations. Obviously, when we are preparing meat, heat is involved in it. So there are some changes that are affected by heat. When meat are heated, fat softens and melts. The proteins are denatured. This is very commonly seen in the making of meat curries, in which even if we put little amount of oil or fat in browning of onion, when the meat gets tender or it starts getting tender, whatever the amount of fat present in meat also melts. First of all, it gets softened and then it melts. It starts decomposing structure of myoglobin protein. As a result, its change occurs in color from red to brown. Water is lost while the meat cuts are heated. Initially, during heating, some bound water converts to free water as the water binding capacity. What is bound water? Bound water refers to the amount of water in body tissues which are bound to macromolecules or organelles. Water binding capacity is the amount of water held by muscle protein as bound water. Heating reduces capacity. Decrease in length of muscle fiber causes shrinkage. It is very commonly seen that as the meat gets in contact with the heat, it starts to get shrink. Excessive heating makes the meat tougher, stringy, and rubbery. Heat converts collagen into gelatin, and it requires more heat and has a considerable effect on the tenderness of meat. Overcooking is more likely to occur when high temperature are used because of the rapid rise in temperature. Though it is recommended by many experts that initially the meat should be um, cooked over high temperature, but the care should be taken that it should not be overcooked. Overcooking of fish causes considerable loss of palatability. Dry heat cookery methods involve various kinds of techniques that can be applied to meat to make it more palatable and tasty. Dry heat cookery method includes roasting, broiling, pan broiling, pan frying, and deep fat frying. These methods are designed to maximize the quality of muscle protein. Broiling, grilling is a form of cooking that involves dry heat applied to the surface of food, commonly from above, below, or from the side. In roasting, there is much opportunity to convert collagen into gelatin. Microwave cooking of meats results in greater cooking losses and less juiciness. Although microwave cooking of meat is essentially a dry heat method. Moist heat methods. Moist heat either braising or stewing. It is a technique of cooking larger cuts of meat, poultry, in enough flavored liquid that's partially cooked over very low heat. This method is designed to provide sufficient collagen to be converted into gelatin without toughening. Poaching or steaming can be used to prepare fish, but the preparation time needs to be long enough to coagulate the muscle protein. Meats are roasted in aluminum foil or in special roasting bags. These devices trap moisture around the meat. Cooking losses. Total losses from meat by evaporation and dripping during cooking are known as cooking losses, while drip losses are the combination of juices and fat that drip from meat. And evaporated losses are the losses of weight from meat as a result of evaporation. That is difference between uncooked meat and cooked meat plus drippings. Due to the high cost of meat and the reduced juices in cooking losses, the effect of the method of meat cookery and resulting impact on yield is important. Cooking losses are greater if the aluminum foil or film wrapping is used. Meat prepared in a slow cooker than a faster cooking method. The higher final temperature also make the meat to lose fast. Sirloin roasts have lesser cooking losses and greater yield if heated in a convection oven at temperature 93 degrees Celsius than 149 degrees Celsius. In a convection oven, cooking losses are lower at 125 degrees Celsius than at 163 degrees Celsius. Even the roasting periods are longer at lower temperature. The oven provides higher temperature yields, same result. So these are the differences of temperatures over the different cuts of meat that may reduce or increase the cooking losses of meat. Effects of altering pH. Hydration content determines the juiciness in cooked product. Adding an alkaline ingredient darkens the meat color by increasing pH. Adding soda, for example, is not recommended because no increased tenderness develops. Adding an acid, marinating a less tender cut in undiluted vinegar for 2 days results in increased juiciness and tenderness. Negative effects on aroma, flavor, and acceptability may reduce the juiciness and tenderness. Effect of salt. Salt contributes to enhanced water retention in meats during preparation. The ability to hold water in the meat improves juiciness, though it may have a role in promoting the tenderness, but the health advantage of avoiding use of excessive salt cannot be denied. Meat tenderizers are primarily used to tender the meat cuts, different meat cuts. Not all the time the meat is ready to get tender, but sometimes we need to apply the meat tenderizer for the more harder cuts. They are used to make meat tender by pounding or by chemical processes or treatment. So basically two methods are applied. It can be a mechanical method or it can be by applying the enzymes. Some proteolytic enzymes help in increasing the tenderness of less tender cut of meat. Papain is the most common among all. It is either a single proteolytic enzyme from papaya or blend of three enzymes. What are three enzymes? Chymopapain, papain, and a peptidase. It is used by applying on the surface of the meat and then piercing the meat with fork to help it absorb in the interior. Papain becomes active when the temperature of meat is 55 degrees Celsius. Activity increases as high as 80 degrees Celsius. Activity decreases at 85 degrees Celsius. The tenderizing effect is the result of enzyme destroying the sarcolemma. If you remember, it is the fine transparent tubular sheath which envelops the fibers of skeletal muscles that surrounds the myofibrils, basic, which were basic rod-like unit of a muscle cell, which are present in the fibers. So hydrolyzing actomycin and then continuing hydrolytic breakdown of various proteins in the fibers. Collagen also may be hydrolyzed for more tenderizing effect. Enzymatic action results in the development of somewhat mushy texture in regions where enzymes has acted. Other than that, papain, which is a proteolytic enzyme, the bromelain and piscine are the other enzymes that can be used in place of papain. Bromelain is an enzyme found in fresh pineapples. Its action occurs sometimes when fresh fruit is in, as is, an ingredient is used in kebabs or stir-fried chicken. While piscine is also a proteolytic enzyme which is found in figs. The mechanical tenderization. Commercially, meat can be tenderized through a tenderizer with needles and blades to cut some of its connective tissues. Mechanical tenderization changes the texture somewhat, but it does not produce the mushiness as compared to enzymes tenderizers. But as my experience, I found the tenderization by applying enzyme is more, you can say, the effective than the mechanical tenderization. So it depends from the different cuts of the meat. Another mechanical method is pounding. It breaks some of the muscle fibers and connective tissue. Yet another technique is tubing, which is more rigorous than pounding. In tubing, the meat is passed through a machine that cuts through a fair portion of the muscle. The ultimate means of mechanical tenderization is the grinder, which is used to make ground meats. This intensive shearing of fibers and connective tissue results in very tender meats from less tender cuts which were before ground. Here are the tenderizing techniques which we have studied earlier: pounding, cubing, tenderizer equipments which is used with blades to make the meat tender, and there are many um, meat tenderizers available in the dried form, in the powder form in the market, which you can see. It is from our local company, and maybe other brands are also available in these meat tenderizers.